Hi, I'm Nathan Eisfelder. I'm committed to play baseball at the University of Tennessee, and this is the No Playbook podcast.
Hey, thanks for checking out the show. It's the podcast featuring the outstanding athletes, coaches, and experts from East Tennessee. Past guests include Tony Vitello, Blake Burke, Hunter Ensley, several other Tennessee baseball players. I, of course, mention those because I figure if you're listening to this episode, you're probably a Tennessee baseball fan. My guest today is Nathan Eisfelder, a truly phenomenal player from the Tri-Cities area who currently plays at Providence Academy, but is committed to the next level, playing for the Vols. Nate joins me to talk about his experience moving to Tennessee from Southern California, his recruiting experience, and he tells me about his favorite sports memory. This episode is sponsored by D1 Training, and there's a brand new D1 training facility in Johnson City. D1 is the place for the athlete. Please check them out if you've got absolutely any sort of an athletic or a fitness goal. I get a Nate Eisfelder right after this. Sit tight.
D1 is the place for the athlete. When you join the D1 team, you don't just go to a gym. You're part of a team, a family.
Family on three. 1, 2, 3. Family.
Something more than just a gym.
Here we go.
If you're looking for a place to get better, to improve, to strive for the goals that you have, then D1 might be the right place for you.
At the 15. Okay. You are bringing it down.
Book your free one-on-one assessment today. Don't wait.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
D1. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Very good. You go by Nate or Nathan?
Nate's good. Yeah, Nate's fine.
Yeah. I just had Caleb Cross on. Talked with him a little bit earlier today.
Yeah, that was my former teammate.
Yeah, he brought you up.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's
Oh,
great.
it wasn't good stuff.
Yeah, he's my guy. I love him.
Um, Obviously, we talked a lot about FCA and that kind of thing, and then his experience getting into Catawba. I like on the show talking with folks really that have a recruiting experience to talk of from every walk, whether it's like a football player that's signing with Ohio State, or it's somebody that's going to Milligan for wrestling.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Little bit of something for everybody. So, um, thanks for joining me. I want to hear, I guess, first up about this past season in the high school for Providence.
Yeah, so we play, so we're a small private school here in East Tennessee, and we play the best competition we can outside of our conference, of course. So in our conference, we play this team called CAK. I'm sure you've probably heard of them. They're
Yeah.
well known, won multiple state championships. Um, that's probably our toughest competition in our conference. But in terms of the teams out of conference, we've played Knox Catholic, which is, I'm sure you've probably done podcasts with them, maybe Lutterman, multiple commits to Tennessee from there. We've played Bearden, who I know you've done Brooks Wright.
Oh, yeah.
Love him as well. So we've had a tough schedule, absolutely. But in terms of my play, um, I kind of had a rough start to start the year. In terms of obviously committing to Tennessee, you get pitched a little bit differently. Base open on first, you're going to get intentionally walked. You know what I'm saying? Guys on second and third or on second and first, you're going to get pitched a little bit more off speed instead of fastballs. They're going to pitch you a little scared. And I had to adjust to that. My approach was a little bit different than it has been in years past, and I've had to kind of acclimate to that. Um, I came here in eighth grade, and they don't really know your name, so you just get first pitch fastballs, and the game's easy. But then they start flipping the 1-0 curveballs and the 0 curveballs, and it's a whole different environment. So how to get used to that, absolutely.
How do you stay sharp though, so that when you hit campus in Knoxville, you're ready to go full speed?
So I'm lucky enough to have multiple coaches who've had big league experience. One being obviously Coach Ree. I don't know if Caleb mentioned him, but
Yeah.
17 years in the bigs, played with multiple teams, played with multiple guys, Barry Bonds, Larry Walker, Hall of Famers. I mean, big names. And he always has said this for me is to stay in the right center field gap. Because what that does is it keeps you on fastballs away and slow stuff away as well. And what you do is in the next level, especially at UT with SEC arms who are 96 plus, is you have to give a portion of the plate away. So I'm personally for me, I have to give the inside half away. I'm never going to hit 96 dotted on the inside half. But if they miss anywhere over the plate, it's either going to be a home run or a double or something effective. And thankfully, with that approach, is if they do miss in, it's either going to hit me or it's going to be ball one. And if they miss fractionally over the plate, it's a home run. So I feel like in terms of high school ball, not many kids can really locate pitches like consistently, which is good because the margin for error is less in high school. They can miss in a variety of places and you can still hit home runs. Whereas college, these guys are spot on.
I like the confidence. And, of course, talking home runs, we've got Blake Burke and SEMO
Yeah.
right now going yard every time they look at the ball. Is that really exciting for you to follow that as the season moves along?
I mean, absolutely. So it's funny you say that because my dad and I have always wondered how these dudes hit so many home runs. Like we're in high school and I'm fine with my 7 home runs I have right now. And I see SEMO, 22, 23 against legitimate arms. And that's what I'm curious about when I go to Tennessee is like, how do they develop these hitters? Like why is SEMO okay in high school and now he's like potential first rounder? You know what I mean?
I really don't know. I mean, I give a lot of credit to Coach Q on
Mm.
campus, the strength guy. We've done a lot of stuff with him. We actually got, I guess, lucky is I don't know if that's a weird word to say, but during COVID, they weren't allowed to work out on campus really with the team. So Q brought them to D1. So basically, so football and baseball and some other sports actually did their team workouts just at our facility. So that was a cool way for us to get good relationships with them. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, I mean, well, I know for sure one thing is that when I went to the LSU Tennessee series, so we use in high school ball these balls called A10-10 balls, which are borderline T-balls. Like you can squish them. And I went into the like the bucket of balls that Coach E and Coach V were using to hit fungos. And the difference in the ball of NCAA and high school is incredible, truly. Because when you go watch a game at Lindsey Nelson and SEMO hits a ball off the hands and it goes 420 to right field, you're just like you're sitting there kind of like, how does he do that? You know what I mean?
Both
But
he
it's just
and
funny to yeah.
KT did that in this past series. They both hit
Hmm.
him like you said. It looked like it was going to be. That's definitely a foul.
Right. No, absolutely. Yeah, it's just interesting to see, the difference. Because I mean, I wonder how different our stats as high school players would be if we use those balls. You know what I mean? You miss them and they go 30 feet over the fence.
Yeah. So do you have any like cool stories from your recruiting experience with UT?
Yeah, so for me, recruiting wasn't a thing where I wanted to go travel and do all the visits to schools. I was lucky enough to get invited to this thing called the Future Games. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's an event run by Prep Baseball Report. And what essentially happens is they bring all states in, or majority of the states into this one section of the top uncommitted baseball players at Lake Point in Georgia and it reels in over 350 scouts. In college, it brings in major league scouts and it brings in agents for major league. And I was lucky enough to do well there. And little did I know, Coach E and Coach V and Coach Bonfield were all there watching me. And I finished the game. So they had this thing called, they give the MVP award. And what you do is you get like this Dick's gift card and you get $50 to spend on whatever you want. And after the game, my head coach, we were lucky enough to be coached by R.A. Dickey. I don't know if you heard of him. Yeah. Tennessee
Oh heck
legend.
yeah.
Yeah. And after the game, he pulls me aside and he's like, dude, you got to go to Knoxville tomorrow. You got to go right into Knoxville, fly right in there. You're going to a camp, bro. You're going there. They have serious interest in you, right? So, knowing me and my dad, we take the trip to Knoxville and we do the camp. Coach Jackson gave us a tour, academic facilities, football facilities, obviously baseball facilities. We loved it. Obviously, love the conversations we've had with Coach V and Coach Elander as well. But that was just, but next thing you know, August 1st rolls around. I have 6 calls. My phone is ringing on August 1st, but 6 calls, and I'm in Los Angeles at the time because that's where my family was. My mom lives there. And at about, I'm sure it was like 5:30-ish, I get a call from Coach E. He's like, dude, we want you. We gave me a great offer. And I was like, man, it's hard to pass this one up. You know what I mean? And I mean, look at where we're at right now. I mean, we're number one in the nation. You know what I mean? Who would have thought? But yeah. And then the reason why I chose Tennessee is because, first of all, it's an in-state school. So that's an advantage. But whenever, let's say I'm struggling or, maybe my hitting is off or something, I can drive the an hour, 30 minutes back home and get A-class coaching from my high school coach who played multiple years in the big leagues. And that's where I feel like I have an advantage. Having Coach Reed in my back pocket wherever I go. Obviously I know E and Coach V are solid, but it's nice to get home cooking with Coach Reed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And actual home cooking.
Yeah,
That's a nice
exactly.
perk.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
That's one of the things that Caleb mentioned earlier is like never pass up a home cooked meal when you have the chance in college.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep, for sure.
Um, it looks like you're already getting some NIL opportunities based on your Instagram. Is that something that you kind of jumped right into?
So, it's crazy, man. The fan base at Tennessee, I committed and I had like some crazy amount of views on my Twitter and a ton of brands reached out, like probably 5 or 6 brands. But I only really wanted to focus on baseball related things as of right now until I get to Tennessee. So I was lucky enough to have a relationship with, I'm sure you've seen them, the Yanase Bats, which is a bat company out of Japan. Premium. I mean, I've swung it freshman, sophomore summers, both of them, because we only can use wood bats in the summer. So I jumped on that as fast as I could because, you crack wood bats, you have to go pay another $130. Why would I want to do that when I can just get them for free? You know what I mean? And then the other one is Underdog Athletics, which is a Christian-based brand. And they give everything. They give arm sleeves, they give hoodies, shorts, and then what I use as my game batting gloves currently, they do those as well. So it's nice to have those brands.
That's good. And I've shared this story on the podcast before, but um, one of my favorite stories about an NIL athlete in college taking advantage of opportunities for things that they love was Joe Milton, actually.
Mm.
He tells a story about, and this was when he was in the shadows of Hendon Hooker.
Hmm.
And like there was thought like Joe Milton might not play, but still he had an opportunity with some company that made gummy bears.
Hmm.
And he just explained, he's like, I want to make it clear. I love gummy bears.
Really?
That was just his thing. So he got some deal with it. I don't know, just sent him like truckloads of gummy bears and he posted about it on social media. I just thought that was the funniest thing of that's what he wanted. That was his bag. So he
Yeah,
was going to take advantage of that.
that's incredible. Anything nowadays, honestly, NIL has gotten insane for college athletes. So,
Yeah. Well, we at D1 we love to do it with kind of incorporating it into sports. It's obviously it fits really well. So last weekend we did an event with Hunter Inslee and Billy Amick. They came to our facility and did literally a baseball clinic for it was 90 minutes and then we had a 30-minute like meet and greet session.
mhm.
So, kids had a great time. The guys, made a couple bucks and everybody had a good time.
Yeah, that's sweet for sure.
Um, so as I'm coming up to Tri Cities more and more, teach me one thing that I need to know about the area, whether it be food, a show, an attraction, something I gotta check out.
So, I don't know if you know or not, but I was born and raised in Los Angeles, and there is like amazing sushi in Los Angeles, right? But when you come out here, it's a little bit different. So I don't know if you like sushi or not, or hibachi or
I
anything of
do.
that sort. Yeah. So there's this place called Hachimi, which is about, I don't know, 15 minutes away from where my school is. And this place competes with Los Angeles. I was very
Wow.
surprised. I was very surprised. My roommate, who lives with me, he's from Japan, so he likes sushi as well. And his family came in and they were like, "We gotta find some sushi restaurant around here." And they plugged it into Google Maps and they were like, "Sushi restaurant." Hachimi pulled up and it's been amazing. I mean, their food is solid. So if you ever come up here, I'd really recommend Hachimi.
I had a football player from Science Hill on recently, and he mentioned a sushi place also.
Hmm. Do you
That's
know which
crazy.
one?
I don't remember what it was called. It might have been the same thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, obviously, some sushi can be lame and not very good. But what I found interesting is, uh, I had a job. I traveled to Manhattan quite a bit, and I was like, I got to go to one of these places. There's going to be some great sushi down, in you know Manhattan. So
Right.
in Midtown, I go to this place that everybody raves about. I spent way too much money on stuff, and I was like, it was maybe a little bit better than the place I go, but it wasn't. It didn't blow my hair back.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously, you could have bad sushi, but I think once you get to good sushi, it's hard to get much better.
Right. Right. No,
Then again,
definitely.
some Japanese guys are listening right now, and they're just
Yeah.
banging their fists.
Exactly. Yeah. I trust my roommate instead of myself in
Yeah.
sushi, you know what I mean?
Um, some white guy that just gets spicy tuna. So
Yeah, exactly. Exact California roll. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. No. No. Tell me, what is your favorite baseball movie?
So it's it's a boring answer, but it's easily my favorite, The Sandlot, no doubt. And I do have a story with that. So I was sick with the flu for a week, and I kid you not, I woke up and watched The Sandlot every day. So it's by far my favorite movie, baseball related, and then a close second or an honorable mention would be Field of Dreams. Yeah, if you
Okay.
build it, they will come. Yep.
That's great. I hate to bring up Caleb yet again. We talked about this. He like credited The Sandlot with making him love baseball.
Hmm.
Um, and I suggested to him a movie that doesn't get a lot of credit. Like you'll hear about Rookie of the Year, which is it's fun or whatever. But Little Big League. Have you seen that one?
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
That's
think
one
is
that
it yeah.
where it's the guy and he gets the job as the like either GM or the owner.
Is it
And I
with the
remember thinking it's
twins?
good.
I think I remember. I think
Yep.
I yeah, I remember. Yep, I know who you're talking about.
Like that one's not bad at all, and it doesn't get mentioned very often with like Angels in the Outfield or
Hmm.
Rookie of the Year, those kind of movies. But I've always liked Moneyball too.
Yeah, yeah, Moneyball's solid. I just think, Sandlot's just such a classic, you know what I mean? Like you got the nine guys going in the backyard just playing some ball, you know? I just
Yeah,
feel like you can't really top that.
I'd Coach V on the podcast. We talked about sports movies a lot,
Oh yeah.
um, so that's a good episode. So, tell me one unforgettable sports memory for you, whether it's as a spectator or as an athlete.
So for in terms of travel, I think all my memories are definitely going to come from travel ball. And this one particularly, I really have two. This one particularly was when I was 12. And when you're 12, there's this tournament in Cooperstown, New York, that's run and it has 120 something teams. And the fences are like 200 feet. So you can blast homers religiously. You know what I mean? And there was this game that we played in order to make it to the quarterfinals. And my buddy got walked, and I came up, and I probably had like an 8 to 9 pitch at bat at the time. And this kid was a pretty decent pitcher at 12 years old. I mean, you're throwing from a 50-foot mound, so it's coming in there a little bit faster. Um, and I get to a 3-2 count, and there's two outs. And this is like we only play 6 innings in the in 12U. So this was like the top of the fifth or something. and he throws me a middle in cookie, and I blast it for a home run, grand slam, and it put us 7-6. So we were up one at the time, and our pitcher came in to close it, and we won the game. So, but I just think I'll never forget that because my dad was coaching third base, so I was lucky enough to be coached by him throughout my whole travel ball, but I think being able to barrel up a home run, especially a grand slam in that situation when you're 12 is pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Heck yeah. That's a great one. That's a great
Yeah.
one. I'm just remembering when you're at the Tennessee games, a lot of times they'll put up essentially it's like a two truths and a lie. Um, so for that, and it's a question I've asked some people, tell me something that very few people know about you. So this can be like a deep cut. So, Uber fans of the Vols, they can take one of this little tidbit and get it, win a prize at Lindsey Nelson in a couple years.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So, a lot of people at my school know about this, but I'm sure not much of All Nation really knows. I would say being like born and raised in Los Angeles, no doubt. Um, and I don't know if you want me to tell the story of how I moved to Tennessee, but I can if you'd
Sure.
like. Yeah, so basically it all really happened in 2020 with all that craziness. So in 2020, we were in Los Angeles and baseball was not being played because you had to wear a mask literally everywhere you go, right? So my dad was lucky enough to attend a sports camp with a buddy of his who lived in Tennessee, and this sports camp was in Los Angeles. And he called him up and he was like, "Man, are y'all playing today? Like, are y'all playing in the summer? Like, is there any games, any practices or anything, right?" And he said, "Yeah, we're playing full time. Like, what are you talking about?" Like, it was almost like COVID wasn't a thing here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, I'm on a flight to South Carolina to play travel ball with this team called the East Tennessee Crusaders. And they invited me to Tennessee, so I obviously showed out well there. They invited me to Tennessee to play a couple tournaments. And then, lucky enough, Coach Reed was at one of them. So he comes up to me. He's like, "You got some skill. We'd love to have you at Providence, right? We'd love to recruit you." And my dad and I were like, like, slow your horses. Like, we haven't even seen the area yet. You know what I mean? Um, so we go look around Johnson City. We're like, this environment is 20 times better than what we're living in currently. And I'm being coached by, A-class coaches, Coach Reed. So we're like, you know what? Let's do it. Made the move. I was lucky enough to play varsity baseball in eighth grade, so I got to experience, what facing, 18-year-olds was like in the box, being mature enough to, learn from Coach Reed and, figure out a consistent plan in order to be successful. And things kind of just took off from there, truly.
That's so great because so often we hear folks kind of complain about the mass exodus of California residents coming here to the Southeast. And I think that's great that like a program like Providence has definitely benefited from that opportunity.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah, it's been awesome. And I mean, honestly, coming from California, I really didn't know what Tennessee was. Until Coach V came in, of course. I came in eighth grade, and I think it was either my eighth or freshman year. That was the Beck, Gilbert, Chase Burns era. And once you see that on TV, you're like, man, that's the number one spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny that that team didn't 2 years ago didn't even make it to the College World Series because I still think that team would have rocked this current team that's number one.
No doubt. No doubt. That team had the most juice. They had the best arms. I mean, Dolander and Burns, they had Beam when he was young, but he was great.
Hmm.
And then now we see Beck in the bigs. I mean, Rockies, right?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that team had one of my favorites, Evan Russell.
Yep, Vandy. Yep, I
Just,
remember
uh,
that
just such a good dude. Now he lives in Chattanooga area, so we've been starting to work together. But just one of those great guys.
for sure.
Um, Excellent. Thanks, man. What's the hat? Are you a Expos guy?
I'm just a hat collector, man. Like anywhere I go. So we have this trip in Boston, and they have like the lid stores everywhere, and I just ate it up. You know what I mean? As many hats as I could get.
That's funny. I had a full-time job as I got engaged, as we were building up to our honeymoon. I needed just a couple extra bucks for the honeymoon. I got a job at Lids, and I would
Mm,
go after I got off my full-time job, and I would like work Lids like 5:30 to 9:30 or something. Do
yeah.
that a few days a week, and it was just fun, just because I like a lot of hats.
Yeah, no, yeah, I have a huge hat collection. I'm trying to collect all 30 MLB teams, so
There you go.
yeah.
Um, and we're about to get this team, the Smokies. They're moving to Knoxville, so I'm hoping that's going to be a really fun experience.
Really? They're moving from Pigeon Forge?
Yep. So they're
Oh,
moving actually next season. So 25 will be their first year in Knoxville. I recently got to take a look at the stadium. It's unreal. There's literally going to be a pool, like think Jacksonville Jaguars.
right.
Yeah, it's going to
Wow,
be
that's gonna be
pretty awesome.
incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna have a D1 training facility like basically down the third base line.
yeah,
So it's there's apartments and all kinds of stuff there on the campus, but we're gonna be a part of that. So we're really excited.
yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, all right, man. Well, I really appreciate the time. I will put it together and have it out in a couple weeks.
I appreciate you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, dude. Go Vols.
Yes, sir.